Well, with the title now looking all but wrapped up in Croatia after what has been a pretty competitive season, this is the big one in determining whether we have super success or whether we've just done a solid job. We face Antwerp today in a two-legged Europa League Quarter Final, a side that have had a Tycoon takeover in this save and are a dominant force in Belgian football. We already caused a shock in Italy in a round of 16, but could we possibly make it to a European semi-final? Yes, hello, and welcome along to part 47 of the Coach's Head with me, Daniel. We are on the verge of something very special at Dinamo Zagreb in what has been a difficult and competitive season for the most part domestically. We have now pulled away at the top of the table. We've just shown that strength in depth. And to be fair, the Director of Football's January signings have aided us as well. Today we face Antwerp twice. We're going to miss out the Rijeka game in the middle unless the first one's very boring. And we are going to see if we can make it to a semi-final or whether it will now be focused on the Croatian Cup and wrapping up a domestic double. 5 players unregistered, Shell suspended and Charle injured, so we've not got the strongest squad to choose from today. If you're looking forward to seeing how we get on in both legs and whether we can make it through against the odds again, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Before we go and get into it very quickly, a couple of games off camera to tell you about. And it's not been the most convincing spell, to be honest. You were with me as we played Atalanta and Hajduk split. We were frustrated on the Monday night after that European hangover. And since then, the goals haven't really been flowing, but we've done enough, which is crucial. It's been the performance of champions. A 1-0 win from the penalty spot against Vukovar. Jene was brilliant in goal. And a 1-0 win away at Lokomotiva. Jene was brilliant in goal. Fofana set up Timmy Cooper for the only goal of the game. So now for the rest of the season, the focus is essentially pick up a few points to make sure the title's won and do what you can against Antwerp and make sure you win the Croatian Cup semi-final. So it will be reserved teams in the 2 league games. We're going to throw away the 6 points if we have to, because this is all about Europe and a chance at a historic semi-final. I just want to double check that this club hasn't had a big European history in the last 10 years or so since this stave started. Nothing in the Europa League. 1967 was their last win. But they did win the Youth League 7 years ago. Wonder where most of those players went to. So let's go and get straight through to the fixtures. The dynamics are looking excellent. The club atmosphere is as good as it can be at this stage. And you can see if we get through, we're likely to be facing a big boy. The majority of the rest are either German, Spanish, English or Italian. Only Michelin really a difference from that. And we saw them in the Copenhagen stint. They're not that strong, so I doubt they'll be getting past Newcastle. Let's go through the tactical meeting. Let's see what 11 we can put out. As you can probably see from here, we rotated quite a lot of the weekend. We tried to play the players that wouldn't be available today. And now we've got to make some big decisions because although everyone's got a light match load, there are a lot of players we can't choose from. We've also got a decision to make in goal. Jene's been brilliant for 2 games. He made a howler in the last round. Ted Kurd is back fit. I'm going to have to make some bold decisions here. Back in a minute to run through the team. Well, I've picked the only 12 subs that are available, so hopefully it will work out. And I've made some brave decisions when it comes to the team, or stupid ones. We'll find out in a few minutes. I've brought Ted Kurd back in goal despite the fact he's not fully fit, despite the fact Jene played brilliantly in the last 2 league matches. He dropped the ball against Atalanta and it almost cost us, so I'm going with Kurd. As centre-half, I've gone bold. Ernad Puklin has come in at centre-half. He is rated better now than Clara, who is declining massively. I'm not sure if I'm going to regret not going for the experienced man. We'll see. Still thinking to change it, but I'm not going to. Pelendikov in alongside him. We did get to rest the likes of Araujo, Diambu and Suslov at the weekend. But the other big decision to make was up front. I've gone for Timmy Cooper, who scored at the weekend, over Beto. Beto is the top scorer with 20 this year. But a lot of them are penalties and he is declining. I want to look after him, use him off the bench. So this is the team we're going for. It is Ted Kurd in goal. Araujo and Simic the fullbacks with Puklin alongside Pelendikov. I should say as well, there was an offer accepted from Brazil for Puklin. In the end he rejected it, but their window was open. It was about 6 million quid. We could have been without him today. Diambu and Quezada at the midfield too, with Medina and Fofana out wide. And then it's Suslov behind Timmy Cooper up front. And it's a big game in Dinamo Zagreb's recent history. Europa League Quarter Final, here we come. Can we make it to semis? And a spectacular run. Well, some very familiar names in this star-studded Antwerp team. They've gone big since having the takeover. They've got Lunin in goal, Vermeeren in midfield, Satriano up front, Dan Ballard, a bit of a surprise entry at the back still. It's a very good side, though. They've got a lot of players earning 60, 70, 80 grand a week. They've got a team that's dominating Belgian football. But I'd argue on paper, they're maybe not as strong as Atalanta, and we managed to put paid to them. That took a Herculean effort. This one might be a bit trickier. And now there's probably a bit more expectation, which is a worry. As Dan Ballard gets it at the back, they're playing a back three by the looks of it, which is never great for us. As Simic tries to make the challenge, waiting for the red card curse there. As Simic looked to fly in. Faras with the delivery, Satriano heads just wide. And early doors, it's the visitors looking a threat. Not the most positive of starts here. But with 11 on the clock, we're starting to move in the opposite direction as Simic throws into Suslov, and we've gained a little bit of control in possession. Odiambu misses it right on cue. There's a chance for the visitors to break with Satriano. Was he onside? He's in behind. It's a delightful little chip. He saw Kurd come in and just went for it early. In the end, it was only the crossbar that saved us. 15 gone. We've not had a shot, and we've only had 29% of the ball. This is, for a side that keeps possession pretty well domestically, a very worrying sign as Araujo flying into challenges. Look how deep Suslov's been, giving it away there. But both times, as Faras is in, it's going to be 1-0. No, it's not. Ted Kurd is the right selection. What a save that is. If you look at the two times we've had highlights there, Suslov is in his own half in wide areas. He's covering almost as another holding mid. Ballard's gone down. You're not giving that. You're not giving that, please. Corner kick in. This type of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other scuffle you see every week in domestic football. Do not give a penalty in the Europa League Quarter Final for that. You are setting yourself up for a disaster, ref. He's gone to the screen. Hopefully it'll mean no penalty, but it's been awarded. It's going to be a soft one. There's going to be 5 instants similar at the other end where we don't get anything. Antwerp, you've got to say they've deserved it on the start. Satriano sends the keeper the wrong way. And it looks like the dream might be over here. He's 26 for the season. What a player he is. We're 21 gone. We've not had a shot. And we're a goal down at home in the Europa League. Well, how bad would it be if we got to half-time without a shot? That's what we look like doing at the minute. Alacon's bringing it forward. And I think we're starting to see just how good this Antwerp side is. Because it's settled. It's got good players in it. We have managed a shot now at least. It's still dominance from the visitors. It's been a really poor half. I'm just going to say, look, if we don't shoot, we're not going to win. Hopefully we can get a reaction. We'll give it 10 or 15, then we might have to ring the changes. But bar Beto, I'm not really sure what we've got on the bench. And defensively, without Byshell, I've not really got changes that can make a difference here. 10 minutes gone in the second half. We've had a couple of shots, but there's no real change to the trajectory of the match. And I'm looking at changes I can make here, and I'm left a little limited. I'm going to go Hugo Gonzalez on the left. I'm going to go Beto up front. Beyond that, we're clutching at straws a little. Quezada could be replaced by Butarak with Suslov dropping in. He's been that deep in the game anyway. And then I'm looking at right back. The only thing I can really do is push Puklin out there. I've got to trust Araujo not to get booked. I will take Puklin off instead and go for the experience of Clara just to try and shore things up a little. Could have bought on young Fiolik as well, but this probably isn't a game for that. And then I'm looking at the 5th sub. Do I just save it in case of an injury? And then maybe in 10, we can throw on maybe a Samardzic or a Malajo. He's had a shocking half of the year, Malajo. Do I even bring on Maeda? He's popped up with important goals, even when he's not played well for us. Could it be the day for him? Antwerp will feel aggrieved that they're only one up. And with Medina looking knackered now, it's Malajo or Maeda. I'm going to do Maeda here, and this looks really, really stupid on paper. But I'm looking at Malajo. He's had a shocking half of the year. He's been poor in every single match, even the one he scored in. So I'm going to go for Maeda as the super sub option. We're going to throw a bit of encouragement out, and we're just going to hope. If we can equalise, it maybe gives us a chance on the road. But it doesn't look like it's coming, does it? We're 1-0 down. It deserves to be more. And that has been a very one-sided tie. Not the greatest first leg performance from us. We're going to need one hell of a reaction and one hell of an improvement when we head to Belgium in a week's time. But now, as that was a quick one, we'll return to face Rijeka in a moment. I might as well show you us edging closer to the crown, maybe even winning a game in this episode, because Lord knows it ain't happening in the Europa matches. We're back to league action for Sunday, which means a full rotation and in some areas a bit of a strengthening because of course we had some good winter signings that are ineligible in Europe. So among those who keep their place, Puklin in the holding role, and that's it. Zhene has come back in goal. Zivkovic and Moraes the fullbacks. Martin's in alongside Puklin. He'll be out in midweek because we'll have Polendikov and we'll have the left-sided player back in by Shell. Violik plays in the holding role alongside Ivkovic, another of the January signings. Young Butarak in as the number 10. The experienced Beto, old enough to be his dad up front. And then Malajo and Hugo Gonzalez out wide. And even on the bench, we've got the likes of Samardic, Maeda, Salkic, Veladsen, Forgotten Man, Clara and Bjorkan who can all come on. So let's go and get through to it. The 11 for Thursday shouldn't really need to feature at all tonight. The only time that will happen is if we go a couple of goals down and need to get a reaction. As here we are against Rijeka with a pretty decent team, to be fair. They've had a disappointing season, but at their best, they're a pretty good side. You know, ask these lads to prove a point. One of them plays brilliantly. They could well work their way into the team on Thursday. If Beto gets a hat-trick in an hour, we'll take him off, wrap him up in cotton wool, get him on the pitch on Thursday night. As Gonzalez gets the cross in towards Ivkovic. Headed away. First couple of minutes, we've started quickly. Zivkovic down the right towards Hugo Gonzalez. He loses out in the air. It's cleared as far as Moraes. And he finds Puklin, a centre-half. But a tough game in midweek. But this game should be a bit more respectable for him. As Zivkovic down the right, up towards Beto. He's in. He's hit the post. He should have scored. 6 yards out. No real pressure on him. Should have at least hit the target. Wasn't to be, but with a couple gone, a much better start to the game at least. We're at the other end and we've got a corner to defend. I can see one unmarked at the back post, which is really concerning me. In the end, he got a free header, which hit the woodwork, and they take their turn to feel hard done by. 5 minutes gone. We've had a shot on target, but Rijeka, very much a threat as well. Not the best defending in the world, and not the best start now, as Hugo Gonzalez has a knock. There's no point taking a risk, is there? We're going to bring on either Veladsen, Samardzic or Maeda. I'll go Samardzic because he deserves to play more than he does. He'll come on the right, like for like replacement. Well, again, I think you can see the evidence here that we're stuttering over the line. And it sort of happened last year when we went to Copenhagen, didn't it? I know it was a bit different in that circumstance because the best player, the only goal scorer at the club was sold and we ended up not being able to hit a barn door. But here it's very similar. It's turned into 1-0s, 1-alls. Very low scoring games instead of the 3s or 4s we were having. There's a few players in attacking positions. Malajo's a great example that have just completely dropped off a cliff. And there's a lot of trouble with morale, which I just didn't anticipate. We are going to throw on a few substitutes here. I'm going to wrap Beto up in cotton wool. We'll chuck Maeda up front. I'm thinking about players who will feature in midweek. I'm not going to worry about those who are ineligible. We're going to bring Bjorkan on for Moraes, the left back. I'm going to go for Veladsen in place of Butarak, who I'll probably need. We'll put Samardzic in the middle, Veladsen out to the right. Going to take Puklin off, who will be a sub-defender in the week. Clara can have a run for him. And there's the 5 changes made. Just like that, we're 25 to go. We've been the better team. I wouldn't say we've done enough to win it so far. Can it be a cheeky one from a set piece or from a spot kick, as we've had a couple of times? Veladsen into the back post, headed away as far as Samardzic. Will it be another 1-0 job? Samardzic in, 1-on-1, good save. Made himself huge there from an acute angle, and there was just nowhere for Samardzic to put it. We're going to go positive. We're going to encourage them. They're playing all right, but they just haven't got that final product. We'll go attacking. I don't feel there's much of an attacking threat from Rijeka. Famous last words, I'm sure. But I feel we can go and chase the game now as Mauro plays out to Venezia. Here we go. We're going to go one down now, are we? Samardzic nicks it. Really good pressing. Veladsen into him again. Samardzic. 1-0 Dinamo Zagreb. Same old story. 2 of the forgotten men. The third choice right back who's covering right midfield. And Samardzic, the third choice number 10, have combined to make it 1-0. Just about enough done. That should be the title wrapped up. And now we can put our focus on the Thursday night again as Bjorkan has a throw on the left. Could we win by more than one? That would be special after the last few weeks, wouldn't it? Taking his time on the throw-in. Doesn't appear to be that keen to get a second. Plays a 1-2 with Malajo, who's had another poor game. Can he finish it in style, though? just gives it away. He's got no confidence, no quality. Really weird as Zivkovic gets down the right. Into Samardzic again, just wide of the post. He was offside anyway. With 3 minutes of stoppage time, it's going to be another 1-0 win. 3 in a row in the league. We're 1-0 down on aggregate in the Europa. And that's the one, as we go towards the end of this episode, that I'm far more concerned about in the immediate. Well, this is the big one. It's last chance saloon in Europe. We rested everyone in the weekend game to get them ready for this. Let's see if it pays off. All of the ties are fairly tight, but in all of the others, the away side are not behind. Let's see if we can do something very spectacular here. Of course, the usual suspects have got to be closed down. I mean, Satriano, he's so good. How do you compete with that? He's still at his best at 32. He's still scoring one a game in Europe. He is very tough to compete with. Let's go through to the team selection. We'll make the assistant changes and then we'll adjust it to suit us as well. Back in a moment to run through the 11. Well, don't quote me on this because I haven't double checked, but I think it's 10 of the same 11 that played last week. Just the returning by Shell, who's back after suspension, the best defender at the club, the best aerial threat in the club. Could be crucial for us from attacking set pieces and defending our own box. Palendikov's in poor form. I've given him a kick up the backside. But otherwise, we've just got to hope. Timmy Cooper, I need you to deliver, son. On the break, away from home, where you should have space in behind, this is your time to shine. You and Medina on the break can be the threat. We've gone for experience. We hope it'll be enough. The only change from last Thursday is by shelling for Puklin. So let's go and get through to it with Ted Kurd in goal again. And hopefully, he'll get the chance to be a hero. Because if we've made it to penalties, we've done something right tonight. Well, here we go. 5 changes from the weekend for Antwerp, suggesting that they've rotated quite a lot as well. I've just seen Hamid Traore sitting on the bench for them, so they're doing all right, aren't they? Most of the same team we saw last week, although I feel like Ballard's missing, isn't he? The skipper, yeah, he's dropped out. So there are a few changes. Maybe they're a little bit lighter today. Hopefully, that gives us a chance on the break. Let's hope the replacement centre-half is very slow. Through to kick-off we go. Is it the last time I will hear the Europa music this year? Away in Belgium, this is an opportunity. We have got to make it count. Well, a quiet first 20 minutes, but we return as Suslov is swinging a free kick in. Headed away to the edge, and Simic fires it over. Suslov with the original good delivery. As you can see, Newcastle are comfortably beating Midtjylland. Lazio winning away at Hertha Berlin. That's an interesting tie. And Girona wiping the floor with Valencia. They've stayed strong in this save. For us, though, we've done the main bit of this first half. We've stayed in the tie. It's still only 1 goal. We're still in it. We've not given anything away. But can we find that bit of attacking threat? We've only had 1 set piece so far. As Medina breaks away, I get he's trying to make something happen, but you've got to run the line. You can't just run in field to the bunch of bodies. Cater 25 yards out, and now, because of that decision, we're probably out. An absolute screamer, and it shows the level of quality they've got. A brilliant goal. Goalkeeper has no chance. But that comes from a wrong decision from a midfielder. I mean, Cater is exceptional. He'd be the best player at our club. And he's got a decent strike on him too. We've just seen evidence of that as we approach half-time. It was the only shot on target at the time. We've managed one before the break, but at the moment, the heads are dropping. I mean, that goal, 0.03 XG. Come on, lads. Have a bit of faith in yourself. We'll give it 15 more. We'll throw on Beto if we need to. Can we just stay in it? It was a bad time to concede the seconds. But this side are just too good. Vermeer and over the top to Faras. You can see when we played the head coach save as Cater's just put another in the corner. 8 for the season. I wonder how many of them are those special curling efforts. There's 2 tonight. I bet the other 6 were pretty good as well. We worked in the head coach save when we got to the end of that. Antwerp had won a Europa League at that point. And you can see why. They're a very good football team. 10 minutes into the second half, they've been exemplary with their chances. They've been ruthless. And it made it a nightmare for us. So with an hour gone, I think now we're going to see out this free kick and then make the changes. Because it's all just fallen away. Ted Kurd makes a good save. Who can we bring on? Do we think about the future for the club now? Bring on people who will make a difference in the long term. I feel like Puklin should come on at centre-half. I'm starting to think he's better than Polendikov anyway. In a holding role, Quezada hasn't had a good match. I'm going to bring on Fiolik. Suslov's been poor, so I'm going to bring on Butarak, another of the youngsters. And then it's Medina and Cooper. Beto will come on up front in a slight change to the policy. And in wide areas, Medina off, Hugo Gonzalez on. 5 changes made. That's what it looks like at the minute. Diambu will switch to the playmaker. But this has been a really tough chasing in night. There's been nothing in the match, but the individual quality. Yes, Buttarak will probably become as good as Keita. Maybe even as Vermeeren. But he'll be gone from this club long before that happens. He's got a £4.5 million release clause. And that's always going to be the problem in this style of save when the director of football's in charge, when you're managing in the likes of Croatia or those sort of middling leagues, is that as soon as a player reaches quality, they get sold on, and for a fraction of the price they'd be worth 2 years later in the bigger clubs in Europe. And that's where it's difficult, because you just don't have that control to bring in the money you should. As Alcaron finds Keita, this tie's over. The focus now is going to be the Croatian Cup and securing a double. What is that from Diambu? Given away, left back's out of position. Vermeeren works down the side here. Diambu intercepts. He wins it back. Fair play to the lad. Here is young Buttarak, one of the stars coming through this academy, as there so often is at Zagreb. Runs the length himself into the box. Oh, hits the post. Magnificent run from Buttarak. He took on the whole team. And he deserved a goal at the end of that. It would have been a consolation. But what a young player he is. Such a shame he won't be here for much longer, because he just produced an unbelievable run, and it deserves something more at the end of it. We've thrown in a bit of encouragement just to keep the heads up. But as we approach stoppage time, doesn't look good, does it? Ondrejka gets the ball on the right for them. Antwerp keeping possession, showing their professionalism here. They've definitely not missed Dan Ballard tonight, have they? As Keita goes out to Marcus, and now Vitic just passing it around at the back. It's like watching an international friendly now, isn't it? Can't get the ball off them. Ventimiglia into Vitic again. 3 minutes added on. Certainly not enough for us to score 3 goals. It's the end of a brilliant run. Look, a European quarter-final's a great effort here. We've put in more than we did with Copenhagen, but in the end, it's just disappointing the way it's happened. As Araujo gets down the right, can we at least give the away fans a goal to celebrate? Gonzalez to the byline, should score from here. In he goes, and he does. That's a nice moment, because he had a big, long injury. He's not really come back the same, and that goal might help him boost his confidence. And to be fair, we finished the game well, but we were outdone by superior quality. 2 fabulous strikes by Keita, 2 brilliant passes from Faras to set them up. 2 brilliant footballers that would walk into our team, and unfortunately, that is the difficulty, isn't it? The lads are unhappy that I've praised them for that, and at the weekend we're going to have to rotate again. I'm sure it'll be 1-0 in a league fixture. But for now, the end of a European run, it's been a memorable one and a really good effort. So with the Europa League run over, and with the fact that we're now 14 points clear in the league and virtually there with 6 games to go, we're going to just focus on the Croatian Cup now. We'll show the semi-final, and then we'll show the final and whatever's around that. So in fact, because Rudez are the closest, aren't they, 14 points behind, we could win the title in the next game and get to the Croatian Cup final. So we'll show those 2 matches next. Then we'll do the Croatian Cup final and the end of season review. I'm presuming, like Denmark, it's not going to be right at the end of the season, is it? When is the cup final? Oh, it's a 2-legged affair. Right, that makes it easier then. It'll be 2 legs for the final if we make it. And it'll be either Rijeka or Osijek in the final. So it could be a battle of the rivals if we face Osijek there again. So we'll play the next 2 games. We'll win the title. We'll hopefully get to the cup final. And then we can put all our attention on the 2-legged final before maybe finishing off this save, unless a really brilliant, exciting job comes along. Let me know what you thought of the European run. If you did enjoy this one, please do put a thumbs up on it. Disappointment in the end, but it's been a great effort, and I feel like we've done really well. Can we make it a Croatian treble, a domestic treble with all 3 trophies? We'll find out in the next episode if we can wrap up the second and get to the final in the third. If you want to stay up to date and make sure you don't miss it, subscribe and turn that notification bell on. In the meantime, we'll be back with Southend United tomorrow. A big finish to the season to come there. We had a huge doubleheader yesterday, and we'll be playing the second leg of both games tomorrow. So make sure you're up to date with yesterday's one if you haven't seen it yet. It's been a frustrating one over there. Here, we've managed to grind down the opposition domestically, but it is the end of our European adventure. I'll see you next time to see if we can wrap up the second part of the job before edging closer to completing the third.